Usually you open it first.
All right.
You ready?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and who's talking? You are? Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey, it is Scotch for Dummies.
4 guys on a Scotch journey to help you with your next Scotch purchase.
What coin number do we got, boys?
In honor of Ardbeg 10, coin number 80.
Shut up, liver. You're fine.
I think that's going to be a new thing every time. In honor of whatever Scotch.
This is probably our favorite
Box.
whiskey box ever.
This is amazing.
Right?
I love this.
Andrew, where did this come from?
I was traveling internationally through Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris, and look what happened. They've got a Dunnage house.
A Dunnage house from Ardbeg.
Ardbeg.
Don't
And
mind
it
me.
happens to have a bottle of Ardbeg 10 in it.
Well, no.
Andrew was going to
Next
buy it
time.
anyway, and the fact that it came with a bottle of whiskey was just a bonus.
Money. Yeah, so unfortunately, if you have the Dunnage house and the bottle is stored sideways, which you're not supposed to do. But anyway, this is a great box. This bottle runs, well, at duty free in the airport with the box, it was like €43. Typically, you can get this bottle for roughly 45 US dollars.
You know,
Give or
most
take.
days, give or take.
I want this bottle whether I like it or not just because of this. This is so cool.
The box is awesome.
The box is worth
epic.
everything.
Epic.
So 46% ABV, Ardbeg 10.
10.
This is their entry level aged statement Scotch.
This
True.
may be wheelhouse.
Uh,
Ardbeg is known for their heavily
Calm down.
peated,
It's okay.
I
the
know.
seaweed, the goodness. We're going to see
So,
because
yeah.
we haven't reviewed this one. We've done lots of other Ardbegs. We've done Ugadale, we've done Ano, not done the basic.
Sea spray, terry rope, immense smoky intensity. So the fact that they are,
We'll see about that.
I mean, terry rope.
What does
right?
terry rope taste
We're
like?
going to find out. So
I like that they use the word immense. in
the
their
fact that
description.
it's been 3 years plus and we have yet to do Ardbeg 10 is almost embarrassing, but
More.
it's here today and I'm going to enjoy every bit of it. So I will let you do the honors of this one.
All right.
So
You need a
Ardbeg,
Champ.
let's talk a little bit about Ardbeg. Obviously it is on the wonderful
island.
island of Islay, where I
Is it
hope to
Islay
be.
or Islay?
Islay,
Eileen.
Isla,
Come on.
Back to the roots of
I
it
love,
right there.
as in
Come
I
on,
love.
Eileen. Oh.
That's so funny.
And it's honestly, I believe it's within stone's throw of a few of the other extremely famous distilleries on Islay, whether you're talking about Lafroig or Lagavulin.
Portland.
Port.
I think they add color.
Yeah,
Not
no,
at
I don't
all.
think so.
Straw
I
color?
don't think so.
Oh, I gotta wipe the bottle. I gotta do a mark.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're looking
Come
at
on, look at
a
this thing.
10-year-old
Oh my gosh.
46.
peated.
It's like-
Put your coin on top.
It's like peanuts
Coin topper.
and.
So
That's
Am I gonna
weird.
smell what the
I'm
coin
getting
on
like
it?
peanuts and.
it is.
Wow.
It's.
I just got like a minuscule drop on my hand, and I'm like, oh, there you are.
Holy
Exactly.
moly.
So-
You know, the whole Mark thing is really the only good, for the most part, on Islands. I mean, that's where you really get it.
Wow.
Well,
All right.
Or like really heavy sherry bombs.
Right, so-
It's got to be something that's got some power to it.
In all honesty, I remember our first experience with an Ardbeg. Right, I brought home an Ardbeg Ugadale, opened it up on this
You mean
bar.
this one right there?
Yeah, super excited. We opened it up and we're like, "Oh, who else gonna
Like
drink
we didn't
this?"
even smell. Like we opened up the bottle and we're like, whoa!
I'm not drinking that.
I'm not putting that in my mouth. Right? I mean,
Now I can't wait.
right? Exactly. Here we are, 3
Why are
years
you waiting?
later, and so
Right?
this
Well,
is.
and to add to that, that's when we really realized the pairing of Scotch and cigars.
True.
What it did, and we need to do some stuff on that, by the way. Sometime we've had some requests to do some of those, so we'll shoot a video soon about that.
I will say that, you know, most of the heavily peated scotches, these are not for your entry level drinker.
No,
Like you have to slowly, you got to crawl before you can walk,
Yes.
right? So
Very-
you may buy a bottle of peated whiskey and hate it.
Yes.
And then you come back a few months later and you try another sip, and it's a little better than you thought it was, and eventually you get over your issue with it.
So it's funny you mention it. We had a conversation about just this topic earlier tonight, and it's funny that that's the way it is because your Lafroig, your Ardbegs, your entry levels, your 10s are really strong. They're punches, right? And that usually will scare somebody away from it. They're like, I'm never going back to that again. But you get into the older expressions, the 18s, the 21s or whatever, and they are so much more enjoyable because they've sat in a cask for, twice as long, and they've pulled in that sherry or whatever it is, that finished note, and they're so much softer. And you know how an older whiskey anyway is going to oxidize more, it's going to round out a little bit more, it's not going to be as edgy. So it's almost like you got to get past this to get into the club, right?
Right.
Initiation.
This is your initiation bottle.
Get in the club.
So this has, obviously it's a punch
Going
up
in.
front, right?
Yeah.
But it's got a lot of sweet underneath it too.
Yeah,
Like a lot of sweet, right?
That's where when I rubbed the bottle, I got that it almost tasted like, it almost smelled like roasted peanuts.
Sure.
Because
I don't get that in the
sweetness.
glass, though.
No, I don't get that in the glass at all.
Right.
I've got, this is a new one for me. I've
Yep.
got like a spider roll sushi with the seaweed on it, kind of going on.
Yeah.
All right.
The
A
rice.
spider roll sushi.
That's specific
A
for
little
You're
Drew.
slice.
kidding, dude.
I'm pulling them.
It's like, can I get a little slice of ginger?
Man, I could go
on
for
the
some
side?
sushi right now.
I could too. But it's funny, Andrew. On the hand, it smelled like peanuts,
Yeah.
roasted peanuts. But when it's as heavy in the glass,
There's
you
some
don't get
peanuts.
that.
I get the peanuts.
There's some nuttiness in there. A little. It's more subtle than on the nose or on the rub.
It's
the hand rub.
what's the ABV again? 46. Okay.
There's
You
a little
can
bit of
tell
heat to it.
It's got some heat.
And it's surprising that it tastes as hot as it does, because usually on a peated whiskey, it's a little more forgiving on the ABV. You almost want it to be hotter. And if I had to guess, I would say it was closer to 50.
Yeah.
It tastes hot to me a little bit.
Yeah.
No,
It's not off-putting by any stretch, but the alcohol is present. You know what I'm saying?
Brine.
I know you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I know what you're saying. And so the finish isn't as long as some of
short.
the other. It's pretty, as far as comparing it to other heavily peated scotches, Islay scotches, that I've been drinking a lot of lately. So, honestly, I'm drinking this, and I just had a couple glasses of, whether it was Lagavulin or Ugadale or Peat Monster. I put a couple down last night, and so it's fresh in my memory. And this is a very short palate comparatively.
now it's not hot for me at all. That's weird. Normally we're the opposite.
Yeah.
but I'm really. Thinking it's not very
I don't
hot.
think it's off-putting, but it's not
It needs water for me.
it's not quite as peaty as I remember it, and so I think that's letting a little bit more of that alcohol
Sure.
shine through. But to be honest, after about 2 or 3 sips, I only get the peat and the smoke now on the finish, and I just get all this sweet candy, like taffy.
Really?
You know what I
It's
mean?
the-
Like
yeah,
saltwater
I got
taffy?
that.
Yeah.
I'm
It's-
definitely getting the brine on it, yeah. And the thing with me is that the finish isn't finishing as smoky as I would have expected. It almost sweetens up a little bit on the end. You do get that right in the middle of the mouthfeel. You get lots of that peat and smoke really blowing through. Then it kind of fizzles out and
10-year-old. It kind of fits the profile. I
Yeah.
think.
I will say that it's more approachable than some other entry
it's
levels.
way more approachable than our little Freud 10, I think.
Oh my
For
God!
sure, yeah.
This would be a great everyday sipping scotch. For what we're $45, give or take. If you're getting into
For
peated whiskeys,
the peated whiskey.
man, you could
genre.
drink that every day and not feel guilty about that at all.
See, it's funny. Your description of what you're going through on your palate is honestly exactly what they write on the bottle.
Really?
There's not a flaunting
We did
peat.
read the bottle here.
And that
We don't prepare.
it says that the peat gives way to a malty sweetness, and that's exactly what you're.
That's crazy.
It's kind of funny because every one of our reviews, by the way, if you have not noticed, they're all live. We don't taste this ahead of time. We don't do any notes. We basically
we prep on
we
a
prep on
distillery.
a distillery, and then we taste it. So what we're giving you is basically live reactions. So
Yeah.
we shoot from the hip a
We
lot.
shoot from the hip. You can probably tell.
That's fair. You go to a bar, you go to a friend's house, you buy a bottle.
That's how you're gonna do it.
Right. You're not going to go home and read up everything about it and say, okay, this is exactly how it's supposed to be. No,
You
you're
need to
not.
open this bottle and let
Right.
it sit for 15 minutes prior to tasting.
You're looking at a menu in a restaurant, and you're like, I don't know, should I spend $23 on this glass of whatever? Is it worth it? I don't know.
Is the boss paying?
Yeah. Can I expense this?
I can't believe how sweet this is in the back end.
I can't either.
With the water, like the peat has tamed way down for me.
Yes.
And I get a lot of that briny
Seaweed,
character.
And the heat's gone.
Yeah.
And so when you said it was an everyday drinker, I don't know if I could have drunk this every day neat. But when you add the water, it brings everything down. It doesn't mute it.
Oh,
It just takes the intensity and kind of brings it down to
Yeah,
a
it sure
really
does.
just a like you said, an everyday drinker.
Yeah.
It's not too potent. It's not too kick you in the face.
Yeah.
It's there, no question. It's a
Well,
peated whiskey.
I'm thinking some other expressions of Ardbeg that we've had, and they're wonderful.
No.
You know, especially when you get into like some of the yearly release expressions. But they're almost like I've got to almost be in the mood for them. You know what I mean? They're so big and so powerful. Whereas this one, I would pour that anytime.
You know what's funny is every time I drink an Islay these days, I get hungry because it feels like because I can pair it with so many things.
I need some
like,
pork nachos.
Give me some nachos. Give me
see.
some clams. Give me some
That-
oysters.
yep.
Give me a bloody
Cotton
Mary.
candy,
I mean,
it's
it's
saltwater
just like
taffy.
that smoky. I mean, this is another one for you guys. When I first noticed this, it brought me back to my childhood. This is my mom and I we bought a dehydrator and we got some meat and we had some liquid smoke on it and everything else and we dehydrated it and a little sweetness and honey on it. I mean, it kind of reminds me of that from my childhood. Isn't that kind of cool?
That is cool.
It is.
So
It's crazy that you remember that.
I remember
too.
that. I mean, that's what the smell reminds
But
me of.
they say that your olfactory senses, like memory, is triggered
Memory is
so
definitely-
strongly by that
It's
stuff.
yeah, it's really potent on that.
it point blank says on the back of the box to store this way up. So I mean they want you to store it like
Well,
this.
I'm not going to because then
then I
my
can't read the
Dutch
other
house looks weird.
Yeah, and all the barrels fall out of your Dutch.
That's actually an interesting question. Maybe you can put it in your lab coat review about the whole
Yep.
side versus top, because I think you're not supposed to store them on the side because of the cork, right?
You don't want the
As
cork to
opposed
flavor
to
the
wine.
whiskey.
Wine's
As opposed to
okay.
wine's different. Yeah,
So-
it's, I think it's the alcohol content. You pull cork flavor out.
Well, plus wines, you want to keep the cork moist so it stays expanded, so it's blocking.
Right.
All right, guys. Are you guys ready?
Yeah,
No,
let's do
I think
this.
so.
Who
What you
wants to
got?
start? You starting?
Drew, I feel like you can start today.
Yeah. You're the man.
I'm ready.
You got this?
I'm ready. This is delicious.
Sure.
What's the price again?
$45.
Oh my god. This is no brainer, y'all. This is easy money. This is a freaking win-win-win. I love a good Islay. We've had our share of Islas on this review crew. This is every bit of love fest for Islay, the sweetness. I love the combo. You mentioned it earlier. It's got, especially with the water. Now, the neat was great. If you want that little potent kick, from the peat, it's great neat. But if you want to tame it down a little bit for the blend and the peat and the sweetness, that water is perfect for you if you want to go for that route. I think it's a nice, great bottle for $45 to get you into the Islay sweetness and the peatiness. Man, this is money. I really dig this one. For all of that package deal, good lord, this is a 3.5. I mean, for a 10-year-old.
Good lord.
Good lord. Great whiskey. Good lord.
O-M.
There we go.
He said, "Good lord." All right, what do you got?
Well,
I'll
you
tell
got?
you what.
I know what I got.
For a 10-year-old Scotch, and I will be honest, it had been a long time since I had Ardbeg 10. So when I was thinking about it, I was remembering more of that punch in the face. Right. Young whiskey,
Oh, it's not
coming
too
in
hard.
hot.
Five
you know.
fingers.
Well, and all of the flavors a little bit disjointed. You know what I mean? They need some time to kind of chill out and marry together. Honestly, it's an excellent bottle.
It is.
The peat's not overwhelming. The sweet's very prevalent. You put a little water on it, you get that brine and sea spray coming forward. Saltwater taffy and cotton candy, and it's
All
just
that.
really good. And it is an everyday drinker. I wouldn't feel guilty about pouring this, and I wouldn't.
No
I wouldn't
way.
mind having a glass or two.
I'll
you
take
know?
this home.
For a peated whiskey, I'm still not sure that it's an entry level. Maybe if you put a little water on it, it would be a good
Yeah.
way to start out. But I'm thinking of other entry level whiskeys in this price range that just don't. They're almost too bold. This one, I wouldn't feel bad pouring this for somebody who wanted to try a peated whiskey and who had never had one before. I don't think it's going to be so off-putting that it's going to scare them away. And it gives a good flavor profile. For $45, I can't beat it.
Every day.
I think I'm going to have to go 3.5. I think I talked myself up. I was going to go 3, but I just,
It's hard to beat the value.
yeah. There you go. What
All
you
right.
got, buddy?
All right. I've
2?
chewed, no. I've talked myself up but not to a 3.5. I'm gonna give it a 3. I think it's great value. It's for $45. My only challenge to people, if they're gonna buy this, to have their expectation to be prepared to get it right with the water. Neat. It was a little rough for me. It was a little rough on the edges. I love it. I mean, it's great, but I'm used to it. I've been drinking peated whiskey damn near nightly for quite a while, so I'm all about it. But I'm sitting here thinking about somebody who's going to, I want to try an Ardbeg, and they reach for this 10. Now, at least they're not reaching for a Ugadale and getting knocked out, right? But listen, you got to be prepared for what you're getting into, right? It's a very heavily peated Scotch. So I had to water it down twice. I went back and once I got it right to where I wanted it, then it was like, man, that's delicious. I love it. Yes, it's got lots of flavors in the profile. And for $45, you can't go wrong. You really can't. But it's also not going to be, a mind-blowing peated whiskey. It's still a 10. It's still an entry level for Ardbeg. So I'm going to stick it at 3. I see what you guys are doing, and that's good. You can't go wrong with it. So I'm going to stick right at 3. I agree with what you guys are saying, but it's not going to give you 3.5 to me.
I mean, you're giving it a 3. It's not like you're giving
right.
it
No, that's a good number. I have a question for you though. What's a good alternative in the $45 range to an Islay?
I'd say in a $45 range, I don't know. I mean, honestly, this is probably it. Now, does that mean that I go out and I give it a 10?
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just
right,
curious.
no. And so I honestly,
it's hard to beat that.
no, and especially with an age statement. This has got this is not an NAS. This is a 10. Right, so you've got to say that's about as good as it's going to get. What's a Lefroy 10? Just to compare. Price point.
I
It's
think
in
it's
that
$50.
$50.
Okay, so
55.
$50, and I can tell you what, you ain't ready for that game.
No.
Okay, I mean,
You're ready for
listen,
this one.
right?
You want to try Islay.
I mean,
and there's other scotches we've had that are not the normal Isleys that have some decent peat smoke to it.
Right.
Sure.
But a true Islay experience,
with an age statement on it.
that's hard to beat this.
You're absolutely right. I mean, and a lot of people out there will agree to it. I mean, this is really a cornerstone entry-level peated Scotch. And I say entry-level because it's their entry-level. I'm not
Right.
saying entry-level as it should be your first step into Islay. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
don't
that.
do
I wouldn't do that.
All right, Andrew, round us out.
All right.
Wheelhouse.
So this is completely my wheelhouse. Yeah. Step up to the professor. So this is a 10-year-old Scotch. It is. You do get some of that youth in it. I mean, you get it when you get high ABV and peated Scotches. You do get a little bit of heat. You get a little bit of that, not pungent, but it's a much stronger peat flavor. As a peated whiskey ages, it does tame. It becomes more mellow. It blends better with the barreling, etc. So neat. This is fairly in your face. It's in your face. But the beauty is you can water it and it doesn't diminish. It just tames it down. The flavors that you still get that rush of peat on the mid mouthfeel. It transitions into malty and nutty sweetness on the finish, even with the water. So for a 10-year-old, I have to say this is a 3.5. That this is probably the best young, age statement peated whiskey Islay that I've had, and I'm really kind of surprised by that. I didn't think it was going to be that good, so I'm going to go with the 3.5 because this is a whiskey you can tune very well and not like lose it. I don't think you would. We didn't over dilute it, so I don't know how low you can go, but you're not going to lose the flavor by just putting water on it.
I would love to bring somebody over that's never had an Islay before or into that kind of world and say, let me give you a glass, couple of splashes of water in there, let's sit for about maybe 5 minutes, try that.
Or better yet, someone who has had an Islay and said, "There's no way I can't drink that. I can't even smell that. Are you kidding me?" Yeah, because it is a great job by Ardbeg. To me, it demonstrates Ardbeg's capability, right? To be able to put a $45 bottle out. That, I mean, I could eat a whole bag of peanuts with this because it's just, that's what it smells like. It just would go perfect. And a cigar to boot, right?
This should be in everybody's bar.
For $45, sure.
Yep.
for sure. All right, guys.
So-
So,
all
I
right.
think 3 3.5s and 1 3.
Yep. So 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, 3.
3.375
Man, we're gonna
on a
you,
10-year-old.
we're
That's
gonna
pretty
pull
damn
your
awesome.
Scotch Whisky title.
Don't you worry. When you add up the numbers, I got you guys blown away.
All right,
Oh,
guys.
no.
That's kind of
Please hit
weird.
the like button, pound the subscribe, hit the alert notification so you can know we are live every Thursday.
Because you want to.
It's always fun.
We want you to.
We're no different live than we are
No.
now because we're live.
We're live.
Thanks
tonight.
for watching, you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye this month.